Hey, as we wrap up a cold January, I just want to share a few takeaways from our C12 meetings this month. Now, first, you might notice, hey, you don't have your C12 gear on, Randy. You actually have what a lot of the national champion Buckeyes wore this season to promote their faith and use their faith as a platform for Jesus Christ. Now, as a lifelong Buckeye fan, not only reveling over Monday night's victory, but I'm even more proud of how these guys are sharing their testimony and impacting lives with the platform God's given them. Even Coach Day said in a recent interview, now these guys can tell their story. And as they do, they are boldly impacting people in ways where they're challenged to follow Jesus. Honestly, many of these guys sacrificed some pretty large contracts that they probably could have had last year in the draft to come back together and truly have a lasting impact and legacy that's a little bit more than the bucks they could have had in their pocket. Now, what's that got to do with C12? Well, we're having impact as well in terms of our lives. And the question is, where are we going to find the most lasting outcomes in our lives? Last month, we looked at economics, we looked at team building, and we looked at spiritual value that we add in our organizations. When I asked the members, what's the most lasting outcome that came from all your efforts last year or even in your career, not one of them had more bullet points in the economic column. It was all in the people column. Change lives, lives that are flourishing, marriages that are still together, families that are still together, people being recovering from addiction. That's the kind of stuff that's worth really living your life for and having impact. And so, just like the Buckeyes, God's given you the opportunity to influence others. And the question is, how are you influencing others? Even I heard on a podcast recently with well known author Simon Sinek, he said, it's people, it's purpose, and then it's profits in that order. And he's not even a member of C12. So, as for C12 this month, we changed it a little bit going into February, and we start talking about how do we develop our teams. And oftentimes I'll sit with members and they'll have taken this lifelong trusted employee and actually promoted them to a new role. And this employee's struggling. You ask the question, why? And then they think it's because I promoted them to a level of their incompetence. Well, that's not always the case. Often it's because you're not leading them according to the situation. The leader has to change, and that's what we'll look at with this situational leadership model where you manage a person according to the task, not the person, because that person in the new task has a learning curve that's straight up, and they need to be led a way different way and managed a way different way. That's why I always refer members to the situational leadership model. And it's just a beautiful way to communicate and help people grow that really have a desire to grow, but maybe they're not real competent right now in those tasks. And so you equip them and develop them in the process. And if that's something that's very intriguing to you, I couldn't think of a better month for you to join us around the C12 table. God bless.